Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking Master Chin Kun's absolutely fascinating teachings on the nature of reality, consciousness, and the cosmic cycle of reincarnation. Have you ever actually stopped to wonder what's driving the universe behind the scenes? Like, what's the hidden architecture of reality? And maybe more importantly, how does your own state of mind completely dictate your ultimate destiny within it? Well, we're diving straight into a deeply profound framework from the Lifechanyuan teachings that maps out exactly how the visible world interacts with the invisible and how wrapping your head around this can fundamentally alter your path. Okay, so let's kick things off with a super striking analogy straight from the source text. Picture an everyday object, let's say an apple. You can see its round, red, physical form, right? You can bite right into it and eat the flesh. But what is its true substance? The text actually argues that the substance of the apple is completely invisible to the naked eye. It lives in its genetic structure, this hidden blueprint belonging to the vast, unseen natural system of the universe. The form, and what we do with it, well, that's obvious. But that invisible structure, that's what actually dictates its very existence. To really get a grip on how this hidden structure dictates human existence, we're going to move through 4 key areas. First, we'll look at the attributes of Tao, then transforming consciousness. Third, Master Chin Kun's key insights, and we'll wrap up with reincarnation and the next life. So, let's jump right into part 1, the attributes of Tao. According to the teachings, the entirety of the Tao is made up of these 3 interconnected characteristics. First up, there's substance, or T. This is that invisible structure, that underlying cosmic blueprint we were just talking about with the apple. Next is form, or Shang. That's the visible appearance, basically what we can see, touch, and measure. And finally, there's function, or yang, which is the practical application or the utility of the thing in our day-to-day lives. The text really drives home the point that substance always acts as the unseen foundation for the form and function that we interact with. Simply put, you just can't have the visible without the invisible propping it up. And honestly, there's this brilliant example that illustrates the dynamic perfectly. Imagine you're sitting in a really bright room. The light filling that room is the form and function. We can see it, we use it to read a book, and we can scientifically prove it's there. But the light itself is just an effect, right? From that visible light, we can easily infer the existence of the sun outside, even if we're indoors and can't actually see it. In this framework, the sun represents the substance. The source text asserts that in the exact same way, the ultimate substance of the Tao, the greatest creator, is totally formless and beyond our direct sensory perception. We can only perceive its form and function in the physical universe all around us. Which brings us right into part 2, transforming your consciousness. So, if the absolute most important part of reality is invisible, how on earth do we engage with it? Well, the text points out that the ultimate goal in pursuing the Tao isn't exactly what a lot of people might expect. A genuine seeker isn't out there chasing earthly dominance or massive wealth or, magical superpowers. Nope, the focus is entirely on transforming consciousness, fundamentally altering how you perceive reality. And the way you do that is to exhaustively explore the principles of the universe. By really deeply understanding how form and function operate, you start to see right through them. You realize the underlying principle that one is all and all is one. It's all about achieving total clarity, great liberation, and effortless ease. It is absolutely not about gathering earthly trophies. The real crux of the matter is that understanding the invisible essence of Tao is what actually allows someone to escape the karmic cycle of rebirth. When you transform your consciousness and truly grasp that substance beneath the form, you transcend the constraints of physical existence. The text describes this as transcending the 3 realms and escaping the confines of the 5 elements, which is basically a way of saying you're breaking completely free from the boundaries of the material universe. Instead of just being endlessly recycled through karmic conditions, a transformed consciousness gets a fast pass straight to the ultimate blissful world of life. You literally aren't bound by the gravity of the material world anymore. Okay, let's move to part 3, Master Chin Kun's key insights. The text makes a pretty bold argument here. It says that absorbing these specific teachings clears away the clouds of ignorance way more effectively than hitting traditional religious milestones. There's this great quote, "A single sentence of transformed speech is more valuable than 10 measures of relics." That's powerful, right? It means that reading 100 books or hoarding physical sacred treasures absolutely pales in comparison to genuinely understanding just a few profound words of truth. True merit and liberation come from internal realization, for sure, not just external collection. Now, what I find really interesting about these core truths is this intense, laser focus on cause and effect. Master Cancun lays out some critical principles. He emphasizes that the state you attain in this life directly 100% determines the world of your next life. Today's fruits are literally tomorrow's seeds. And get this, earthly wealth, supreme intellect, or worldly power, they mean zero if your consciousness remains untransformed. The text explicitly states that all phenomena are mind-made. Everything flows from and returns to a mental or spiritual state, often called the Dharma realm. Plus, the whole universe is constantly changing. What was true yesterday might be totally false today. And crucially, because everything transforms conditionally and lacks a permanent self-nature, science can only ever measure the visible form and function. That leaves the invisible substance entirely in the realm of transformed consciousness. But if you don't transform your consciousness to grasp these insights, the text warns of a pretty bleak reality. Humans basically become trapped in this endless, unthinking loop. The source uses a really striking metaphor for this. We're like donkeys turning a millstone. Blindfolded, walking in an endless circle, reacting only to the visible form and function right in front of our noses, and completely failing to understand our own true self-nature. If we don't snap out of it and break this cycle of mindlessly reacting to the physical world, we're just tethered to the millstone of existence forever. Which naturally leads us to Part 4, Reincarnation and the Next Life. The teachings outline a very, very literal translation of cause and effect when it comes to the afterlife. It's not random at all. The exact state of realization your mind attains just before death serves as a literal ticket to corresponding cosmic destinations. Check this out. If you attain the state of super-celestial beings, you journey to the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. Attaining the state of Buddhas sends you directly to the Pure Land. Reaching the state of a celestial being grants you entry to the 1,000-year or 10,000-year world. And if you make it to the state of a deity celestial being, you get to freely wander through all time and space. The main takeaway, your internal state of consciousness entirely dictates your external cosmic reality. So what happens if you stay blindfolded at that millstone? Well, the text is completely uncompromising here. If you continually fail to transform your consciousness, if you stay totally glued to only what you can see, touch, and measure, the form and function, you simply can't access these higher cosmic planes. Because you're so tethered to the material, the absolute best possible outcome this framework offers is a return trip. You're just going to be reincarnated right back into the human world to try the whole thing over again. Now, to anyone who might doubt reincarnation, the author poses a really compelling argument just based on observing nature. Think about it. Without reincarnation, would our world even exist? Water recycles, the atmosphere recycles, plants and animals constantly recycle through continuous stages of growth, aging, death, and then growth all over again. The source states it beautifully. Birth is simply the function of death, and death is the substance of birth. It's just one continuous, inescapable loop of energy. Humans are part of this exact same natural system. So human reincarnation is seen as just as natural and inevitable as a plant growing from a fallen seed.
And that leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought from the Lifechanyuan teachings. The treasure is in one's own land. There is no need to wander aimlessly. Think about how much of our lives we spend looking outward, right? Seeking wealth, looking for hard physical proof, just staring at the visible forms of the world. But if the ultimate substance of the universe is formless, and your very own mind holds the literal power to transform your consciousness, dictate your afterlife, and break that endless karmic cycle of the millstone, well, how will you begin searching your own land today?